Good morning. I'm Akiko Yoshida from Japan National Tourism Organization. I really thank the organizer, Ms. Yo Shufun, Mr. Kei Shibata, and Ms. Aya Aso for giving us an opportunity to speak at the WiT Japan and North Asia 2022. As in other countries, the tourism sector in Japan is experiencing the difficult time due to the pandemic. However, we are still optimistic about the future of tourism in Japan in the mid to long term. In my today's presentation, in the first half, I will share with you information on the current situation of border control so that you can make your own preparation. And in the second half, I will explain the direction we are aiming for in Japan's inbound tourism after the reopening of the borders. First, let us briefly look back on Japan's inbound tourism before COVID-19. As shown by the blue line, some 32 million foreign tourists visited in 2019 and visited Japan in 2019. On the other hand, as shown by the red line, about 20 million Japanese people were traveling abroad from Japan. Next is a breakdown of the number of foreign visitors to Japan by nationality. A little more than 80% came from Asian region, out of which about 70% came from East Asian region, such as China, South Korea, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. And then followed by 13% from Europe, the United States, and Australia. By the way, I hear many people ask questions. There are 2 points. The first point is when the borders will reopen. And the second question is whether the numerical target set by the Japanese government has been changed or will change. And this numerical target is to achieve 60 million foreign visitors to Japan and the tourism spend of 15 trillion Japanese yen in the year of 2030. I think it's better to answer to this question first. I don't have an answer to the first question. Border control measures are taken as a countermeasure against infectious diseases. So it would depend on how to deal with the situation of this infection situation. And regarding the second point, the Japanese government has not changed the target value for 2030 at this point of time. So instead of answering the first question, I will explain the situation of border control measures in a little more detail so that you can use it as a reference for your preparation. There are 3 related procedures for foreigners to enter Japan under the current circumstances. You have to satisfy visa requirements and quarantine conditions, such as a stay for a designated period of time at the designated facilities. Then, based on the conformity of these requirements for entry, the immigration authority decides whether to allow each individual to enter the country or not. In the case of Japan, PCR tests are conducted at airports for all entrants, including Japanese. So currently, you can enter only through 5 airports with such testing system. And the upper limit is set for the number of people who can enter the country per day, including Japanese, based on the capacity of this quarantine testing system. Under these circumstances, the number of foreign nationals who have entered Japan in 2021 has been around 20,000 every month, except from July to September, when the Olympic and Paralympic Games were held. And due to the spread of the new variant, as you are aware, the Japanese government has tightened the border control. And at this point, foreign nationals are not able to enter Japan unless there are exceptional humanitarian reasons. And similar measures are also taken in each market. So we believe that the timing and the number of tourists returning to Japan will be affected by these measures taken by each country in the future. In that sense, the numbers you saw in the second slide, the breakdown by nationality, would have some relevance. A relatively strict epidemic prevention measures are being taken in Asian region. But on the other hand, the United States and some European countries have moved to abolish or shorten the quarantine period on condition of vaccination since last fall. So we hope that vaccination will progress and the situation will improve as early as possible. This is the situation of the vaccination. In Japan, at the moment, the number of double vaccinated people has already reached 80% of the population. And the number of people hospitalized due to the COVID is rather smaller in comparison with other countries. So all in all, Japan has been controlling the effect of COVID-19 relatively well. Based on this information, we envision 3 steps for recovery of tourism in Japan. First, we have to recover domestic tourism. And then, as for inbound tourism, as I explained earlier, the entry conditions of each country are different. So the speed and the volume of return from each market would be different. And finally, we hope the pandemic ends and international travel will be fully recovered. Then, until the borders reopen, what should we do for the time being? We believe that we should continue efforts to improve the quality of tourism infrastructure that we have upgraded in the last several years, and take good care of the customers who are in front of us. Various policies that have been taken up to 2019 have significantly improved the tourism infrastructure in Japan. So it has approached the level of global standards, including digitalization. So especially digital infrastructures have developed in a rapid speed, and not only Wi-Fi and cashless payments, but also digital platforms such as online booking systems in the private sector have been developed and became standard among Japanese consumers. So we will continue to improve, shouldering on what we have achieved and what we have learned in the last several years. So next, what the directions of the Japan's inbound after the reopening of the borders based on such improvement? There are 2 points. It's a quality, further improvement of quality and sustainability in tourism. First point is luxury market. Last year, the Japan Tourism Agency formulated a strategy for luxury travel market. Following the formulation of the strategy, the Japanese government plans to take support measures to improve the current shortcomings that have been identified by experts. These 5 points are identified as requiring further improvement. And the government will assist further development of high-quality accommodations by the private sector, and review of regulations have been conducted so that hotels can be built in the national parks. And as for the travel experience, Cultural Affairs Agency are developing tourism products with exceptionally rare cultural resources. And Sannomaru Shozokan, for example, which displays works of art owned by the imperial family, is now an expansion work. For the future development of Japan's luxury market will be extremely exciting. The JNTO will continue to share the needs of overseas luxury markets with the domestic stakeholders and work on branding of Japan as a luxury destination. And sustainability is another direction that Japanese tourism sector is aiming for in the post-pandemic era. Economic and social activities in the 21st century, not limited to tourism, must be in line with the mission of the Sustainable Development Goals. And the following 3 points are particularly relevant in relation to tourism. The first is the sustainability of the environment. And the second is the sustainability of cultural heritages. And the third is the sustainability of these environments, cultural heritages, and communities through the economic benefits of tourism. From these perspectives, Japan and JNTO supports the local destinations that embody the concept of sustainable tourism and promote adventure travel that combines nature and cultural experiences. We have also created digital pamphlets that combines information of local destinations in the form of experience in Japan and local treasures, and post information on experience programs in areas other than the big cities of Japan on our website, and more intensively disseminate information overseas. And it goes without saying that these efforts are supported by digital technology. The tourism sector will be required to deal with the uncertainties caused by the pandemic for a while, but in the mid to long term, the development potential of the tourism industry can be expected to continue. It may be different from the one we saw before the pandemic, but it is expected to develop in a form with a higher quality tourism and less burden on the community. The Kansai Expo will be held in Osaka in 2025, and the construction of luxury hotels continue to increase in Japan. So once the borders reopen, travel experience in Japan will be more refined, more exciting, and a more accessible one. We are looking forward to the day when we can welcome foreign tourists back to Japan again. Thank you.